It was supposed to be another silly cartoon episode. But for Harry and Meghan, it's shaping up to be a full-blown crisis. The kind that doesn't end with a joke. It ends with a brand implosion. South Park is back. And this time, they're aiming straight at Meghan's pregnancy video. The bump, the dance, the lighting, the message. Nothing about the Sussexes is real anymore. And this episode might just finish what the last one started.
Drop it in, drop it down, down low. Drop it in, drop it down, down low. Drop it in, drop it down, down low. To the baby mama when I step out on the block. Work. Drop it in, drop it down, down low. Drop it in, drop it down.
It started with earbuds and garden pacing. That's how shaken Harry reportedly was after hearing what South Park had planned. Not just a general jab, but a brutal mockery of Meghan's now infamous pregnancy dance video. The one that went viral, twerking and all, in a hospital room with ring lights blazing. The joke had barely landed, and Harry was already spiraling. The compound in Montecito, usually a calm PR fortress, went into full crisis mode. Morning Zooms turned into emergency war rooms. Staff scrambled, refreshing Reddit threads, digging for leaks, trying to guess what was coming next. One blurry storyboard panel, reportedly showing an animated Harry adjusting lights, while Meghan rolls in a rubber bump, sent him over the edge. "This can't be real," he texted. But it was. And it is.
Trying to make ourselves into a brand just turned us into products. We don't need to be a brand, do we?
This might be the smallest palace I've ever been in.
An apartment. I thought we were moving forward, Meghan. Well, we're not.
Dad, do you have any cash for a cab? Oh, look. Grandma's on the money. I never noticed that before.
But panic wasn't just brewing in private. Because what's coming isn't just a cartoon. It's a cultural slap. The last time South Park mocked them, it was brutal. The worldwide privacy tour episode became a global meme factory. But this time, it's surgical. Creators Trey Parker and Matt Stone are reportedly calling the segment "Respect Our Pregnancy." And it's not just funny, it's pointed. The leaked storyboards show Meghan on a Netflix set, rehearsing empowerment moves with a bouncing bump, while animated Harry holds a clipboard shouting directions. Each jiggle of the bump allegedly triggers a flashing subtitle, "Scripted Moment." The implication is loud and clear. This wasn't motherhood, it was marketing. And South Park wants the world to laugh at that truth. Harry, already feeling like a public meme, now fears this will cement him as a permanent punchline. Not just in tabloids, but in culture. Because once South Park says it, the internet doesn't forget. But for the Sussexes, the real damage doesn't come from jokes. It comes from what happens after the laughter fades. At first, that pregnancy video seemed harmless. Just two expectant parents celebrating a special moment. But the internet wasn't buying it. From the lighting to the choreography, people started whispering, "Was this real joy? Or was it all a show?"
He's got form for strapping on baby bumps.
There's something very wrong with that shape, in my view.
I think they split within 12 months.
South Park took that doubt and ran with it. They didn't just recreate the video, they exaggerated it. Fake intimacy coordinators, camera grids, producers yelling, "Cue vulnerable sparkle." It's not just a parody. It's an accusation that the bump, the moment, the vibe, it was all curated. Harry reportedly fears that once this airs, people will start looking at every Sussex moment with suspicion. The Netflix doc, the podcast Tears, the Instagram family shots. Was anything real? Or was it all one long, perfectly lit performance?
I love a brunch party. I think There's just something really charming about it, and I think it's a great way to connect. For kids, that's fun, so many good songs, and I've become that mom where I'm like sitting around with friends and I start singing like, Tyrannosaurus, that's the chorus, Tyrannosaurus. I was like, what am I singing? Oh my gosh, I'm singing Storyboard.
That fear is what turned a parody into a panic. And soon, the war room at Montecito wasn't about PR. It was about survival. Inside the house, the energy shifted. No more relaxed calls or brand brainstorms. This was full-blown damage control. Lawyers jumped on calls. Advisors opened legal handbooks. Could they stop the episode? Could they sue? Could they spin it? The answers weren't comforting. U.S. law protects satire like a sacred art form. Parody isn't just allowed. It's encouraged. One attorney even warned that trying to block the episode would just make it worse. "They'll read your lawsuit on air," she said. And she wasn't joking. The PR team started throwing options. A sit-down interview? A charity post? Maybe even a counter video laughing at themselves? But none of it felt right. Every move could backfire. Stay silent, and it looks guilty. Fight back, and it looks petty. One line from an internal memo said it all. There may not be a move that doesn't make this worse. In other words, checkmate. And if Montecito's walls were shaking, the outside world was already rumbling. Because when satire draws blood, headlines follow fast. You'd expect the royals to step in, right? Maybe defend Harry with a dignified statement or show some solidarity? Not this time. Inside Buckingham Palace, there was no outrage, no panic, just a shrug. A senior aide reportedly forwarded news of the episode with 3 words: brace for headlines. The official stance? Total detachment. No comment on satirical programming. Translation: you're on your own. And the silence stung more than the jokes. Harry, still hoping for reconciliation with his father, saw the bridge to Clarence House fade a little further into the fog. Even William's camp, usually reserved, whispered their private thoughts. If you feed the media beast, it'll keep eating. Meanwhile, Hollywood wasn't much warmer. Meghan's influencer circle went quiet. Studios politely passed on calls. A few friendly execs even warned, lean in and it'll spread. Push back and it'll explode. Even old friends were choosing silence over association. And while friends stepped back, enemies stepped forward, armed with memes, hashtags, and digital firepower. The parody hadn't even aired, but the timeline was already on fire. Hashtags like #PrinceParody and #BumpGate trended for days. TikToks stitched Meghan's real twerk with fake South Park previews. Instagram Reels zoomed in on lighting rigs. On X, GIFs compared Harry's Netflix scenes to storyboard leaks. It wasn't just viral, it was everywhere. And that's when fan pages started to fold. Once devoted Meghan supporters turned off comments. Some deleted entire posts. Nobody wanted to be caught in the crossfire. Even body positivity influencers refused to engage. The internet's in roast mode, one wellness coach said. I'm not stepping into that.
Welcome to my garden. Well, it's not my garden, it's a set actually, but welcome to my set. Tropicana, is that your dog's name? Every morning, I take the freshest oranges from my backyard grove to make orange juice for H and the children. And then I collect the honey from my homemade beehive at home. No, H. I said honey, not Harry. I only call you H or honey. And then I use the stuff to create candles for my guests. And H, oh, I forgot something. Don't you just love throwing a sweater over your shoulders? It's just darling. And I prepared this yesterday, as you all know. I'm all about the jam. So let's try it. So sweet. And a little rosemary from the garden. Always fresh, never dry. Did you buy that from a supermarket?
Meme culture doesn't play fair. It snowballs. Each joke feeds the next. Each laugh resets the clock on Harry's humiliation. And with every post, the brand took another hit. Not just to reputation, but to relevance. Even their most loyal audience was starting to look away.
My name is Meghan Sussex now. Call me Meghan Markle one more time, Mindy fucking Kaling. I want my home to feel welcoming. Do you feel welcome? Does my soundstage welcome you? Mindy and I are such great friends, like besties. Like, I love her. Like, she doesn't know my name, but we're best friends. The best way to have a snack is to take the snack out of one bag and then move them into another bag and then label this new bag, even though this bag already has a label on it. Tap water! My kids just always go, more kale, mommy of Sussex. Everyone says they don't have time to make homemade meals, but if you just have 3 nannies, 2 butlers, a housekeeper, a driver, and a full-time personal assistant, you have all the time in the world. Stop making excuses and start moving snacks from one bag to another.
But for all the online fire, the real explosion was still to come. Because this time, it wasn't just public opinion on the line. It was money. What's a meme to most is a risk to a sponsor. And brands don't bet on punchlines. They back credibility. That's why, within days of the leak, Invictus Games partners started asking questions. One apparel brand requested that its logo be moved, from athletes' gear to backdrops only. Another held funding for a mental health summit until after the episode aired. A European tech donor reportedly froze signatures, worried that a twerking cartoon prince would crash their wellness campaign. It wasn't just awkward, it was expensive. Because once the money pauses, the image isn't just bruised, it's bleeding. And there was more. Paid influencer campaigns planned for Meghan's As Ever brand were shelved. Too risky, too soon. One strategy deck was quietly labeled, "Delay until stable sentiment." Another PR slide had just 4 words: avoid proximity to parody. Suddenly, it wasn't just the internet laughing, it was the marketing world walking away.
And now my belief is that if the reaction is as bad as some of those that you suggested there, if people really do actually see this, if this gets out, to the masses and to the mainstream media can't avoid how ridiculous this is, I wouldn't be surprised if they start then putting out the hypothesis that some of this was AI generated.
Indeed. Because how can we know that it's not? Given that this clearly is not a bump that at all looks like a human pregnant bump. Alexandra Marshall, what do you make of this video?
Listen, Dan, my friend, when you invited me on this show, you didn't say you're going to traumatize me. I am an ambassador for the Australians for constitutional monarchy. So what you are doing is subjecting me to my worst nightmare, which is every argument possible for the Republicans. Thank goodness that our current Labor Party lost their last referendum so badly, they're too scared to ask any more questions. Otherwise, this video would be playing on repeat. But basically, with this whole Meghan Markle thing, it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. They were so desperate to be the victims of the press. Well, that's exactly what Harry's gone out and done, and they pretend to want privacy and to be left alone and respect, and then they go and drop something like this, which, I mean, I know she's not the brightest, most in-touch person in the world, but even she would know that this video is going to attract all the wrong kinds of attention, and you can't tell me it's got nothing to do with the timing of this release.
So what now? With silence looking weak and outrage feeling desperate, the team in Montecito turned to the only card they had left: spin. Inside the strategy room, the debate was brutal. Option 1, a self-deprecating video. Meghan and Harry walking the beach, laughing off the parody, saying parenthood makes everyone a little ridiculous. Then pivot to Invictus, or mental health. Relatable, disarming, risky, Because if it lands wrong, it cements the joke forever. Option 2. A teachable moment. Wait 2 days after the episode airs. Then launch a campaign on online bullying of new parents. Frame the South Park segment as tasteless. Push empathy. Tie it to a cause. But again, dangerous. The internet might call it what it smells like: mocktivism. And in every scenario, one dread lingered. What if South Park lands a line that sticks? One brutal phrase that becomes cultural canon, like worldwide privacy tour. If that happens again, if Harry becomes clueless prince or Meghan gets dubbed bumpfluencer, then no campaign will undo it. The brand will be branded. One crisis memo ended with a chilling summary. We can't outspin the punchline. We can only survive it. And with that truth ringing loud in every room, the countdown continued. Not just to a cartoon premiere, but to a decision that could change everything. Harry's first instinct? Lawyers. He pulled every string he could, hoping to find a loophole, a lever, anything that could delay or block South Park's parody. What he got instead was a legal memo so bleak it read like a funeral speech. Every option was shut down. Defamation? No chance. The twerk video was already public, on Meghan's own feed. You can't lie about something someone posted themselves, the legal team said bluntly. Privacy? Denied. South Park's producers operate under U.S. law, where parody is king and the First Amendment is the moat. One paragraph read, "California courts respect fair use more than royal titles." Even royal protocol was raised. Could Harry's title be used without permission? The answer was sharp. Once he stepped back from working royal duties, his legal protection dissolved. Even active royals rarely sue for satire. As one lawyer joked, if the Queen survived a cartoon tap dancing on corgis, Harry can handle this. But while the courts were useless, the palace was worse. They just watched from a distance as the Sussex brand burned. At the same time, across the UK, Labour's leadership faced its own version of South Park-style scrutiny. Keir Starmer was drowning in scandals, budget black holes, hidden donor deals, and rebellious MPs flipping on live TV. What united his downfall with Meghan and Harry's meltdown? One word: control. Like Montecito, Starmer's camp tried to spin everything. His team framed tax hikes as protection, donor ties as transparency, and dissent as party growth. But the public wasn't buying it. Neither were the backbenchers. Just like Meghan's empowerment campaign, Starmer's messaging started to feel hollow, curated, defensive, and disconnected from the people it was supposed to serve. The more both camps tried to control their narratives, the more they lost them. And now, both stories, royal and political, are unraveling in real time, side by side. Different worlds, same problem. When trust breaks, no PR team on earth can glue it back together. Meghan and Harry had only one thing left to protect: their image. And even that was cracking. The scariest part wasn't the parody. It was the silence. Not from Harry or Meghan, but from the people who used to cheer them on. Their inner circle stopped posting. Celebrities who once called Meghan brilliant and Harry brave were suddenly unavailable for comment. A few even quietly unfollowed. One Hollywood agent said it best: the cost of association just went up. The upside stayed flat. That's what brand decay looks like. Not an explosion, but a slow, awkward distancing. Even paid collaborations were hitting pause. Influencers refused Meghan's offers, worried that even a friendly wellness reel could get dragged into the meme cycle. Some asked for 5-figure fees. Others just ghosted her team entirely. The truth was setting in. When you become the punchline, your image gets infected. And when that happens, your friends stop picking up the phone, not because they hate you, but because they don't want to be next. Which brings us to the final unspoken fear, the one Harry can't say out loud, but feels with every passing minute. The episode isn't even out yet, but inside Montecito, it already feels like the end of something. Because if South Park lands just one line that sticks, just one catchphrase as powerful as "We want privacy," this could be irreversible. One PR strategist put it clearly: you survive a leak. You don't survive a cultural nickname. If Harry becomes the cartoon prince forever fiddling with lights, if Meghan gets branded as the bumpfluencer, no amount of beach walks or charity drives will rewrite that script. That's how brand damage works now. The memes outlast the apology. The animation becomes the memory. And sponsors don't bet on the mocked. Internally, the team is split. Do they preempt it with humility? Or stay silent and let the storm pass? The risk with both? The punchline is already locked. The laughter is inevitable. The only choice now is whether to face it or vanish. And while the Sussexes brace for impact, the rest of the world is already watching with popcorn, hashtags, and a front-row seat to reputation collapse. In a few short weeks, a cartoon episode could decide the future of one of the most talked-about couples on the planet. Not through scandal, not through crime, but through satire, through animation, through a single joke that might stick forever. South Park's parody isn't just a comedy skit, it's a cultural verdict, a final test of how much reality people still believe in Meghan and Harry's story. And if the answer is none, then no palace, no podcast, and no perfectly curated Instagram post will ever restore that trust. So here's the real question. If your whole brand is based on authenticity, and the world starts laughing at your truth, what's left? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.